Hi, I'm Grandmaster Rogers.
What is white feminism?
You might have heard the term white feminism used lately, after Nicki Minaj and Taylor Swift's Twitter exchange, or when people critique HBO's Girls. But what does it mean?
Basically, white feminism is feminism that ignores intersectionality.
So not all feminists who are white feminists.
But most white feminists are white, because white people just don't have to think about things like race on a daily basis.
But intersectionality is basically the idea that we experience life, sometimes discrimination, sometimes benefits, based on a number of different identities that we have. So the basic term came out of a case where I was looking at black women who were being discriminated against, not just as black people, not just as women, but as black women.
For the rest of you ladies, in particular young women, I do want to talk to you today about how extreme feminism can take you down a road of destruction, especially in today's society when women have made great strides, especially in the Western world, and we are bosses and we are CEOs and we are supervisors. And, you know, in this day and age where black women are looked at as strong and independent, and we don't need no man, and we want to be single mothers and have children out of wedlock and not demand marriage, and all these ideas that people have about black women, because the statistics show that black women are having babies out of wedlock at an abundant rate, because it shows that black women are the least married racial group. It puts us in this like stereotypical role.
You have been the face of feminism, the voice of feminism for so long, going back to a time when saying feminist was kind of a dirty word. Are we in a completely different place, do you think, or are you fighting the same old battles?
Well, the answer is yes and yes and yes. But, you know, we were always a multiplicity of faces. It was not just me here, right? And it's not right that the women's movement is not seen as, actually it has always been disproportionately black women.
So I was reading an online article to which I came across something that I didn't know about Gloria. It talks about Gloria's new book, My Life on the Road, recounting her life, journeys, and travels, but look at the bottom paragraph. What is often missed or mischaracterized, however, is the work she did as a CIA agent. Steinem was a spook. Confused, I decided to dig a little deeper. Black Feminism, the CIA, and Gloria Steinem. What follows is a fact sheet about Gloria Steinem's operations against the various social and political movements in America, particularly her role in creating a hateful and virulent strain of black feminism that attacks black men while partnering with the white establishment.
Gloria, at the festival, you worked for the Independent Research Service.
That's right.
Well, exactly when did your own association with the CIA start, and in what fashion? Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
In 1958, yes, when the story broke that I had that I have for 4 years been a Central Intelligence agent.
Steinem first came across the radar of black men when she put a book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman by Michelle Wallace on the cover of Miss Magazine, to which she controlled. Let's read on. The book was written by a black feminist and activist, quote-unquote, named Michelle Wallace, who came out of nowhere. She was in her early 20s, yet she was being touted as the leader of black feminism. In the book, Wallace called abolitionists like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth ugly and stupid for supporting black men. She called black revolutionaries chauvinist macho pigs and advised black women to go it alone. But peep what Gloria said. Gloria Steinem said that Wallace's book would define the future of black relationships, and she pushed hard to make sure the book received massive publicity. Define the future of black relationships? What's the bottom line? The bottom line is the so-called black feminist movement was created and manipulated by the CIA from the very beginning. The only difference between black revolutionaries and black feminists on this issue is that black revolutionaries know they were infiltrated and manipulated, but black feminists are still unwilling to admit that they were infiltrated and manipulated, largely because they are highly invested in the hateful brand of black feminism. It is now a central part of the culture of black women, and this fact has led to the destruction of the black revolution and the complete distortion of black relationships, and the CIA had a direct hand in creating this situation. So black woman, Gloria Steinem, your American journalist, feminist, social political activist, and CIA agent, she was used to cause disunity in the black family through the use of feminism. Remember that book we read earlier, the one on the Black Myth by Michelle? She said that would be the future for black relationships. Nothing positive in that book was written about the black men. They were putting them down.
I attended Indiana University, and I majored in English and African diaspora studies. And this was a time when most black feminist theory courses were taught in black studies departments. And I enrolled in this course, Black Feminist Perspectives, circa 2000, and it was taught by Dr. Audrey Todd McCluskey. Now, was anybody else perhaps in college around the early 2000s? Anyone else taking black feminist theory courses around that time? Well, if you were, and if you weren't, let me just be clear that there were certain theories that you were gonna know, right? They were gonna make sure you walked out of this class understanding certain concepts and theories that were really germane to understanding black feminist thought.
You may have heard the word intersectionality thrown around a lot lately. A black woman coined the term in 1989. Her name is Professor Kimberly Crenshaw, and her work is especially relevant today. Traditional feminism has always fallen short. It's forgotten how police brutality disproportionately affects black women, that African American and Latina women continue to make less than, literally, everyone else.
And my mother is what, I guess, in the last century, we used to call race women. They're women who were deeply committed to the idea of racial justice and about some of the ways that racism gets experienced by black people who are women, not just black people who are men, and basically give me tools to see when it was coming at me. So, different ways that you might be spoken to as a black woman as opposed to being a white woman, having to keep your eye out for harassing behavior at work. Sexual harassment actually came from black women's employment experience. The first plaintiffs were black women because these are kind of things that would happen to black women in the workforce. So just the general way in which you're a woman but not quite the kind of woman that you're supposed to be. These are the kinds of things that my mom taught me about. So I had sort of a race lens from the family as a whole, and then my mother would talk more specifically about, now as a woman, these are the things that you're going to have to look out for. So, in the same way that lynching, for example, was often framed as an assault on black male sexuality, which many times it was also the cover for many other things that other people were subject to, including black women who were also lynched. So we've been trying to broaden the frame so people can see how state violence is rationalized by a lot of different stereotypes, right? So the idea is everybody is similarly situated with respect to race. That's part of the idea behind all lives matter. Like everybody is similarly situated with respect to the likelihood that they'll be driving down the street one day and a police officer will, interrupt their day and they might end up in handcuffs or worse. It just is not the case that everyone is similarly situated with respect to this.
Now, let me start off by saying that as a black woman in a country where my people have never really had freedom, justice, or gotten reparations, in a country where there's a genocidal war on my people, in a country where justification is found when an innocent black man or woman is murdered, in a country where my people are oppressed and discriminated against, in a country where my ancestors were enslaved, beaten, raped, and lynched, in a country where such a thing as white supremacy and white privilege even exists.
Peace, family. All right, so a white feminist reached out to me and she told me she thought I was very powerful, and basically she tried to persuade me with compliments to be a part of the feminist movement. She said she thought I was fighting the wrong cause and that sexism was worse than racism because women have always been discriminated against, have always been oppressed, have not had the same equal rights as men no matter what the race, and she thought I would be a major asset to the movement. And so I want to go ahead and address this so everybody knows where I stand when it comes to feminism, especially black feminism. Black feminism branched from white feminism, which initially had absolutely nothing to do with the black man or the black woman. The only reason the white woman reached out to the black woman was because she needed numbers, was because she needed signatures. The same way this white woman only reached out to me was because she thought I would be an asset. The same way politicians only pay black people any attention when they need our votes.
Okay, so the white feminism, it had absolutely nothing to do with us. It had everything to do with the white man not treating the white woman right. It had everything to do with the white woman not having the same equal rights as the white man. But the black man and black woman got their equal rights at the same time. So even though the white woman was telling the black woman that the black man had more rights and more privilege than them, in all actuality, the white woman had more privilege and more rights than both the black man and the black woman. And so they whispered these ideas of integration into their ear, which is nothing but the illusion of inclusion. And because of that, it has been the biggest destruction of the black family and one of the most detrimental things that had ever happened to the black community ever. And still today, black women are still hollering about equal rights when the unemployment rate for black men is at 18%. Black women are more likely to be hired by a job now than black men. Black women can get more student loans now than a black man. A black woman that can't provide for her child financially can get assistance. A black man that can't provide for his child financially is going to go to jail. So sisters, I'm not sure what we're hollering about when it comes to equal rights, because it seems the black man is the one that doesn't have equal rights. We have more privilege than him. And what corporations do these black men own to tell you can't have equal pay? It's not the black man that you should be mad at, sisters. You got to look at it as a game of chess. Even though these white feminists say they hate their men, you got to know that they are still the mate of this white man. So they're going to protect that white king as they should in a game of chess. You should be protecting your black king. But see, they have infiltrated the black community by getting the black woman to turn her back on the black man. Another thing that this feminist thing has done is this Planned Parenthood thing. Planned Parenthood is formerly known as the Negro Project, and the founder of the Negro Project was a woman named Margaret Sanger, which was a racist woman that said black people are like human weeds that need to be exterminated. And now these Planned Parenthood clinics are concentrated in predominantly black urban areas, and the majority of the abortions done in America are done by black women. They say the number one killer of blacks is abortion. A lot of people would debate that and say you can't kill something that's not alive, but you are destroying a life that is growing inside of you. That is killing. You are helping us exterminate ourselves. These white feminists, they are not your friend. They are the mate of these white men that want you gone. Yeah, I think for myself, I don't need this programming. It was an insult. It was an insult. So, yes, no, I would never ever be a feminist. I stand by the black man, and I love my black man, and I would never ever turn my back on him. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now you know where I stand with feminism. Hopefully nobody will ever ask me to be a part of that movement ever again.